split personality disorder. God's name is He. He is male, not female. I believe in all the heavenly scriptures. You can't. No one can. At least one person can. You are young. God is the cosmological constant, the unchanging changer. According to the Catholic Church, there has to be conversion of the Jews before the end of the world and the second coming. According to Islam, there has to be an extermination of the Jews before what they call the day of resurrection. It is like the word is mistranslated, misinterpreted, or mistransmitted. If the Jews are to be exterminated, this is a judgment upon them for being blasphemers. If they are to be converted, they are to seek a better religious tradition than the one they were growing up to. The great apostasy is a form of a conversion of the Jews. They are being tempted to leave their faith. So it could be the temptation of the Jews. Through their trespass, salvation has come to the Gentiles. Through their trespass, salvation has come to the Gentiles. Why wouldn't this mean that it is because the Jews trespassed, they were punished by having the title of anointed pass on to the Gentiles? That because they trespassed and caused the death of the prophets before Jesus and wanted to have Jesus, their own Messiah, be put to death, because of this trespass, salvation was also sent to the Gentiles instead of the Jews. In other words, since the Jews wanted a Messiah and their Messiah came, but they rejected him, this means that God would treat another nation as an anointed nation. The promise of God was made for Abraham, and for that reason only, a descendant of Abraham would be able to bring salvation unto the Jewish people. The Christians believe that the promise was made in Isaac, but the promise could have very much been made in Ishmael, because he is also a descendant of Abraham. What would God do if the sons of Isaac and the sons of Jacob, Israel, began trespassing and sinning against him? What would God do if the sons of Israel became a disobedient, entitled group of people, only allowing some people into their faith and not others, making the faith of Abraham limited to the sons of Israel, as though God is inflating their ego to rule the world under his name, thinking and believing that they are thus superior to all other nations? Has God really created humans to be oppressive with their doctrines and ideologies, trespassing and sinning against all humanity and against God himself by ascribing a son to him, and then he would still be happy with them, forgiving of all their sins and constantly cleansing them? The term chosen people or anointed nation just means that God selected them. Whether he did select them to suffer, like you claim he had done for the Ummah of Islam, or to be the inheritors of the earth. Since God sent Adam to graze the fields and take care of all animals that God created and live by the sweat of his brow, God would not tell a specific nation, "You will reign supreme against another nation." He did not even make the Jews kings upon Israel and given them rulership over the Holy Land, so that it would be a land where they would live exclusively and destroy everything in their path. He told them to live in the land so that he would test how they would behave among people who do not follow their faith. He wanted to test you with your neighbors, and thus sent you Jesus to say, "Be good to your neighbors." He would still look with disgust at the person, Jew or Christian, who would be filthy. Morality is still an important matter for God. Those who convert from Judaism to a different faith are only changing their perception about God and His message. Those of them who become Christian will be judged in accordance with the New Testament. Those of them who become Muslim will be judged in accordance with the Quran. Those who are exterminated for being Jews for no purpose other than they were of a certain faith will have closure and judgment by God on the day of judgment. He is the most just judge. It is no wonder that the Quran was given supremacy over other scriptures, because if God was not the one who spoke the Quran, it would be a heavily unjust script. If someone dies a believer, what more does he want of life? Lived their lives a believer and died a believer, he would be rewarded and judged in accordance with his beliefs. Even those who believe in fairies, leprechauns, dragons, zombies, aliens, or any other beliefs, each one of those beliefs has its own form of justice embedded into it. Belief is the pathway to infinite possibilities, which allows it to produce miracles and wonders, and which makes it absolutely true. If it is true to you, then it is also true to God. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: أربع في أمتي من أمور الجاهلية لا يتركونهن: الفخر بالأحساب، والطعن في الأنساب، والاستسقاء بالنجوم، والنياحة. وقال: النائحة إذا لم تتب قبل موتها تقام يوم القيامة وعليها سربال من قطران ودرع من جرب. If the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that his ummah will have these four time of ignorance practices, does that mean that every person of his ummah will have these practices? Can these practices not be present in a person from his ummah? In other words, does every one of his ummah have to have one of the four practices? Or it could be the case where there are no practices of polytheism. If Islam was revealed to cleanse the time of ignorance practices from the community, it seems like the people do not fully abandon a practice after becoming Muslim. It means that some people will have a trait and other people would have another. وقد تقدم قوله صلى الله عليه وسلم: ليس منا من ضرب الخدود أو شق الجيوب أو دعا بدعوى الجاهلية. وقوله صلى الله عليه وسلم: أنا بريء من الصالقة والحالقة والشاقة فقد تبرأ منهم. Mourners are not from among the Ummah. These are practices that were found in the times of ignorance and in Judaism, where the Jews would shave their heads or rip off their clothes, gratifying the burned and turmoil they have endured. In the book of Job, this is what the friends of Job did upon hearing of Job's test. They ripped their clothes, shaved their heads, and put dirt on their heads. Striking the face is also a Jewish practice. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that he disowns those who raise their voice in mourning, those who shave their head, and those who rip their clothes in mourning. The most disliked vows to God is the vow made like, if you cure me, I would, or if you cause me to pass a test, I would. It is disliked because it seems as though someone is making an exchange, like, bless me so I would do such and such, as though God requires that from us, or requires our counteraction. In a similar manner, it would be called vow of replacement. A person with a split personality disorder, because sometimes only through disorder that we can find order. It is not even split personality per se.